All right, that's just connecting to YouTube Live. Let's have a look. Where are you guys from? UK, Australia, New Zealand, Philippines, England, Spain, UK, Philippines, Australia, Saudi Arabia, New Zealand, India, Philippines. That's totally cool. Can't believe you guys are awake in the UK. Must be late or early there. All right, that's all good. We're connecting up. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to paste the link for YouTube Live into the chat, just in case. If you're looking at your screen and it looks blurry for whatever reason, or it's not formatting properly on your computer, then you'll have to watch this on YouTube Live. You can still ask questions in Zoom, but you'll need to watch it on YouTube Live. Just, I don't know why, it's just a funny, strange thing. So I've popped that in there. I'm gonna get rid of that. Okay, so the link to YouTube Live is now in the chat if you need to watch it there. Okay, let's have a look at today's lesson. And I think we're ready to go. And we'll check that, and cool bananas. Hello, OET candidates. My name is Jay. I'm one of the expert OET teachers here at E2 Language. If you need any help, do check out the website. In today's live class, we're going to focus on OET writing, and we're going to look at the importance of the task. The task is, I don't know if you've taken the IELTS before, or if you've ever written an essay that was important in the sense that you needed a grade or whatever. But the most important part of an essay is the question prompt, right? It would say something like, global warming, what are the advantages and disadvantages of That's the most important bit, is the question prompt. In OET writing, you don't have a question prompt because you're not writing an essay. What you have is a task. And the task is the equivalent of the question prompt. If you misinterpret the task, you're going to write your letter incorrectly. It's critical that you understand this task because, yes, that will help you to get a high grade. So what's in the task? Well, the task will tell you what type of letter you have to write. The task will also tell you who you are writing to in terms of their profession. The task will tell you whether or not the recipient knows the patient, which is critical information. Does that dermatologist, for example, know the patient, or is it the first time you're introducing the patient? The task will tell you why you're writing to the dermatologist. And the task will also tell you the name of the recipient, the name of the clinic, and the address. All of this information comes from that little bit at the end of the case notes, right down the bottom, that says the task. Let's have a look at number one. What type of letter are you writing? This is pretty straightforward. So you're either going to, not either, you're going to write usually, let's just put some arbitrary numbers to this. I don't know exactly, but I'm pretty sure like 90% of the types of letters in the OET are referral letters. This is by and large the most common type of letter you have to write. And then these ones are sort of, I don't know, let's just, I can't, 3%, whatever, something like that. You may have to write a discharge letter, a transfer letter, or an information letter, right? But usually it's a referral letter. That's the type of letter. Now this information, what type of letter you have to write, will be found in the task. Just read this and tell me what type of letter you have to write. Put it into the chat. Cool, should be pretty straightforward. If you look very closely here, it says using the information given in the case notes, write a referral letter. Cool, you should have got referral. What about this one here? What sort of letter do you have to write? Cool, you should have got that one there. It's a transfer letter. Transfer letter. Fine, that's pretty straightforward. Second bit of information in the task that you need to understand is who you are writing to. Not the name of the person. No, I'm not talking about John or Jane or Sally, whatever, but what profession, the profession of the recipient. What job does this person do? because that will inform what kind of case notes you select. It's the difference between writing to a physiotherapist, writing to a cardiologist, writing to a pulmonologist, for example. All of these will require, these people, their jobs require different information from the case notes. For example, if you're writing to a physio, obviously you want to include things about the body and muscles and aches and sprains and stretching exercises and stuff like this. But if we're writing to a cardiologist, that will be less important, but maybe even irrelevant. So the profession, who you're writing to, is critical. So it might be a physio, radiographer, GP, dentist, etc. Who are you writing to in this task? Should be pretty straightforward. You're writing to a dermatologist. So what sort of case notes are you going to select, considering the profession of the recipient of the letter is a dermatologist? Well, very different case notes than if you're writing to a dentist, for example. Cool. Let's think about whether the recipient knows the patient or not. A lot of people ask, should I structure my letter like this and put the introductory paragraph and then put the past medical history and then put the admission diagnosis? And it's like, it depends. It depends on who you're writing to. And some case notes, such as the medical history, the past medical history, depend on whether the person you're writing to knows the patient or not. Because think about it. Let's say you're writing to refer John to Jay, right? I'm the doctor, I'm the GP, and I'm John's GP, and I've known John for 20 years, and I know everything about John, and you're referring John to me. Now, do you need to include all of his past medical history if I'm his GP? No. Do you need to include the most relevant admission diagnosis? Yes, because I want to know what's wrong with him. I know that he has diabetes. I know that he has this. I know that he has a history of this, etc. Right? So let's think about this. I just want you to compare these two tasks here, the one on the left and the one on the right. Which one knows the patient? Ask yourself, does the recipient know the patient? Right, let's have a look. The one on the left says, using the information given in the case notes, write a referral letter to home care nurse John Walker. John will take over Jane's home care. Now, it doesn't explicitly say whether John knows the patient or not, but it does say John will take over Jane's home care. What can we infer from that? We can infer that the one on the left, the gray one, John does not know Jane. And therefore, some of the information in those case notes will be important for John, such as Jane's medical history, whatever. On the right-hand side, it says, using the information given in the case notes, write a referral letter to Jane's home care nurse, John Walker. This is interesting. This little apostrophe, Jane's home care nurse, John Walker, right? Even that indicates, it's a very small thing, but that indicates to me that John knows Jane. And therefore, our selection of case notes will differ. It also says John will continue with Jane's care as well. But even if it didn't say this, even if it just said Jane's home care nurse, then we can assume and correctly assume that John knows Jane. Cool. All right, number 4. This is probably, well, among the most important bits of information in the task. The reason for writing the letter. Why are you writing the letter? Just read these two and think about the reasons why you're writing the letter. Okay, the one on the left says, using the information given in the case notes, write a referral letter to physiotherapist John Walker, outlining relevant information. It's pretty broad, but this, this is the reason for writing the letter. Why? This, outlining relevant information. Okay, it's not that clear. Let's look at this one. Using the information given in the case notes, write a referral letter to Jane's GP, for further investigation and definitive diagnosis. Right. Now, the reason for writing is important in two parts of the letter. First of all, you want to mention it in the introduction. Dear Dr. What's his name? Dear Dr. Walker, regarding Jane, I'm writing to refer Jane into your care. In this letter is relevant information related to her case, right? So you'll include the reason for writing in the introductory paragraph. Yes, and possibly even in the final paragraph where you have the ask, right? But the second one's probably better for doing this. Let's look at the second one here. So, dear Dr. Walker, I'm writing to refer Jane for further investigation and a definitive diagnosis of her issue. So you want to include this in the introduction because it's the reason for writing, and John Walker wants to know immediately why you're writing to him. And again, also in the final paragraph, you may also say something like, your investigation and diagnosis would be much appreciated. You can reiterate it, not only in the first part of the letter, but also in the last paragraph of the letter as well. That doesn't hurt. Okay, also from the task, you can get the name of the recipient, John Walker, the name of the clinic, and the name of the address. This is all for letter formatting. So let's think of the recipient's name, the name of the clinic, and the address. Please write those 3 things down for each task. Okay, let's think about this. So the one on the left, we know the name of the recipient. Well, it's going to be Dr. John. No, it doesn't say doctor. It's just physiotherapist. John Walker. Here's the address of John Walker. And no clinic name. No clinic name. There you go. No clinic name. It just says John Walker and then the address. Fine. What about here? Melissa Perkins. Well, you could say it's a GP, so you could say Dr. Melissa Perkins. Here's the address and also no clinic name. Sometimes there will be a clinic name. So it'll say Melissa Perkins, 77, Melissa Perkins, let's say it's South Bank Clinic. You'll have the name of the hospital or the name of the clinic, for example, South Bank Clinic, and then the address of that, which you will include at the top of the letter in the formatting. Now, if you formatting, I won't go into it in detail, but basically what I'm going to say about formatting the letter is this. If you know how to format this letter, that the date goes at the top and then it's Dr. Melissa Perkins, South Bank Clinic, 77 South Bank Boulevard, South Bank, dear Dr. Perkins, re Jane Smith. Okay, if you know how to do that, construct the address, etc., and you know how to put the yours sincerely nurse down the bottom, you can do that in like 2 minutes or less, right? And then all you need, if you know how to format the letter, it takes you 2 minutes. And then you have 38 minutes to focus on writing your introductory paragraph and your two or three or four main body paragraphs. Now, if you don't know how to format the letter and you're sitting there on test day going, oh, where should I put the date? How does the format, how does the address, where should I put the address? And you waste like 5 minutes thinking about that, that's problematic. So make sure you know how to format these letters well before test day. This is why practice is so important because you may be extremely smart. You may be a doctor, whatever you think. Well, you are smart. You've become a health professional, a nurse, a doctor, whatever. But still doesn't mean that you should just think, oh, this exam will be easy, because it's not. It really does require practice and good information on how to complete these tasks quickly. You only want to do the OET once, get it over and done with, and then move on with your life. I suggest do it properly. That may mean signing up to a preparation course, which may in fact save you money in the future. Just something to think about. Cool. Let me give you a little quiz now. The quiz is this. I want you to, sorry, what's going on here? Let's go through this. What type of letter do you need to write? Actually, you can just write all this down. Let's just do it like this. I'll give you a couple of minutes to answer these questions. Okay, let's go through the answers. Type of letter. Well, we're writing a referral letter. Okay, referral. Who are you writing to? What's the job of the recipient? Well, gastroenterologist. I'll just write the word gastro here. Does the recipient know the patient? Well, there's no information saying that he does. So we're going to assume that he doesn't know. Okay, it doesn't say anywhere that this patient knows the doctor, so I'm going to assume no. And that's a good assumption. Why are we writing to him? Definitive diagnosis and further investigation. Okay, further investigation and definitive diagnosis. Name of recipient, well, it's Dr. Jason Roberts. Cool, got that. Name of the clinic, well, it's Newtown Hospital. Cool, got that. And what's the address of the hospital? 11 High Street, Newtown. Got it. You can see so much information in this task. Let's do another one. Okay, let's look at this one. What type of letter are we writing? It's probably going to be a referral, but we better check. Yes, it's a referral letter. Cool. Who are we writing to? Well, we're writing to an endocrinologist this time. An endocrinologist. Okay, got that. Does the recipient know the patient? Somebody, VJ, said on YouTube Live, which is a very astute observation, that we're writing for further management. But that doesn't necessarily mean that the patient knows, the Dr. Smith knows the patient. It just means that, so what's usually happening here is you've got this patient, you've got a set of case notes, and it's about Mrs. Sharma. Mrs. Sharma's a diabetic. Mrs. Sharma's and recently her blood sugar levels have been increasing. There's this information about Mrs. Sharma. There's going to be some irrelevant case notes as well, right? Now, in the task, it says, okay, Mrs. Sharma's, let's say you're a GP, Mrs. Sharma's come to you, and maybe she's come to you 3 times, and each time her sugar levels keep elevating, and you're like, all right, I need to refer her to a specialist for further management. That doesn't necessarily mean that the recipient knows Mrs. Sharma. It just means that I'm taking this and handing it on to a specialist for more management or additional management, okay? So only if it says in the task, like for Mrs. Sharma's endocrinologist, then you can say, yes, the patient knows the recipient. Or might even explicitly say to the endocrinologist who knows Mrs. Sharma, for example. So only if it explicitly says it, otherwise assume no. Otherwise assume no. I think that's the right answer. I'm very confident with that. Okay, so we're going to assume no. Why are we writing? Further management of sugar levels. Cool. Further management of sugar levels. Name of the recipient. Well, it's Dr. Lisa Smith. Make sure you get the name right. City Hospital. And the address just says Newtown. There's no real address there. Let's do another one. Here we go. Okay, this one's kind of tricky, right? It's a good one. So what type of letter are we writing? It says here, write a letter back to the referring GP. So it looks like this happened. It looks like firstly you wrote a letter to the GP, and then the GP wrote a letter back to you, and then you're writing a letter back to the GP, right? No. Sorry, there's no you here. Back to the referring GP. It looks like a GP wrote a letter to you saying, hello, you, I have this patient. By the way, this is for a physio. This is why this will make sense. Let's put it in the context of a physiotherapist. So the GP has a patient, right? This patient has a sore leg. So the GP says, okay, I'm going to write a letter to the physiotherapist and refer you. So the GP wrote the referral letter, right, to you, the physiotherapist. You have examined the patient. Now you're writing back to the GP. So it's not really a referral letter. It's not a referral letter. It's like I guess it's a response. A response. I guess it might be an information letter. It's not a discharge letter. It's not a transfer letter. It might be like a response or an information letter, something like that. So you need to be flexible. So your introductory paragraph will be, thank you for referring me to this patient. I have examined her, and in this letter, I will let you know my findings. For example, that was a bit clumsy, but you get what I mean. So type of letter, well, it's like a response or a follow-up. A follow-up. This would be a nice way to do it. Whoops, sorry, food. Must be hungry. Follow up. It's a follow-up letter, isn't it? Or a response. Whoa, throws a spanner in the works. This is why on test day, you need to be completely flexible. You may be practicing writing referral letter, referral letter, referral letter. You go and sit in the exam and you get this on test day and you think, whoa, what do I do? You need to stop and you need to critically think, because this is not a referral letter. It's a response. And so you think, okay, I can do this, but how can I use language? Because I'm writing back to the GP with my findings. And so you would write something like, dear Dr. Stacy, I'm writing to inform you of my findings with this patient, something like that. Then the examiners look at it and go, aha, good. This person's understood the task properly. So it's a follow-up letter. You're writing to a GP. There it is there. You're writing to a GP. Does the recipient know the patient? Yes. Because remember, the GP met with the patient, then referred them to you, and then you're writing back to the GP. So that's a definite yes. Why are you writing? Details the findings and suggested treatment plan. And the name of the recipient, Dr. William Stacy. Name of the clinic is Grey Walls Clinic, and there's the address there. Whew, that was a tough one. Let's try another one. One more, and then we're finished. Let's give you a hint with this one. In this one, you are a physio. That doesn't work. You're a physio. Give you some context. Okay, let's go through the answers here. So again, the type of letter, it's not a referral letter. What's happened here is a GP. It looks like Dr. Jones. Let's just say GP. Okay, so Felicia Jones. So the GP has seen this patient. The GP has written to you and said, can you please examine this patient, make sure that she's okay and can go back to work. Now you're writing back to the GP, informing the GP. So again, type of letter, it's going to be a follow-up letter. Follow-up letter. Cool, that makes sense. Who are you writing to? Well, it just says Dr. Jones, Fit Family Practice. We can assume that this is a GP. Does the recipient know the patient? Yes, definitely, because we're writing a letter back to the referring doctor. So again, the doctor has met with the patient, sent you a letter saying, can you please examine this patient? You're writing back to the GP with your information. Why are you writing to him? Assessment and return to work full duties. So assessment and return to work for full duties, if that's possible. Name of recipient, Dr. Felicia Jones. Name of clinic, Fit Families Practice. The address, 25 North Road, Newtown. You have done it. Thank you very much for watching. If you need any help with your OET, if you want feedback on your writing, if you want to practice a speaking role play, if you're a doctor or a nurse. By the way, if you're a doctor, we now have doctor medical case notes on the website. So you just go and click on OET course, click on writing. Right down the bottom, you'll see medical case notes for doctors. Got 3 sets of case notes there. What you can do is download them, type up your letter, book a tutorial, meet with the teacher. Just before you meet with the teacher, email your letter through. The teacher will go through one-on-one and do some live corrective feedback with you. Give you some, tell you what you've done right, tell you what you've done wrong, tell you how you can improve. So that's cool. So we've now got full Dr. OET course up online, including speaking and writing and listening, reading as well. Yeah, so if you need help, do check out et2language.com. And right now I will answer a few questions. If you have any questions, pop them into the chat. Let's have a look. So far, no questions. Jay, how can we write the first paragraph of such a letter? I believe you might be referring to the follow-up letter. So you would say, Dear Dr. Smith, I forget her name. I have investigated this patient and I'm writing to you to inform you of my findings. Or I have assessed this patient and I'm writing to you to, I don't want to say fill you in, that's the wrong thing. I'm writing to provide you with information about this patient, something like that. Cool. Is it necessary to mention if the patient is single, married, or widowed? It depends. If you're writing to a social worker, yes. If you're writing to a dermatologist, no. Why does the dermatologist need to know about the marital status? It's unimportant. If you're writing to a home care nurse, yes, probably. If you're writing to a dentist, no. You have to think about, again, who are you writing to, what the profession is. Does a dentist want to know if the patient is married or single or widowed? No. Jay, just a general question on writing. Would it affect my marks if I write my name at the end without a surname? No, you just write doctor, nurse, physio, something. You don't have to write your name. Syed, if there is any mistake in the details, like identifying the type of letter or wrong address, is the whole thing wrong? No, the whole thing's not wrong, but you will be penalized for misinterpreting the task hugely. If you, for example, we saw how you can write a follow-up letter and it's not a referral letter. If you saw that and you thought, I'm going to write a referral letter, then your whole letter will be off topic because you're not referring the patient, you're responding back to the doctor who referred the patient to you. And so your selection of case notes will be completely off. Your organization will be completely off. You'll be penalized quite heavily. So the task is absolutely critical. Jay, do you have a standard format for the body of the letter? No. And you shouldn't have a standard format for the body of the letter because, again, you need to be flexible. If you're memorizing a template and you're thinking, okay, referral letters are always like this. First, I have the introductory thing, and then out in the first paragraph, I talk about medical history. Second paragraph, we've already spoken. If the doctor knows the patient, don't include the medical history. If the doctor wants to find this, but not this, don't include this. There's no standard format, unfortunately. There's a basic structure, but really what you need to do is think critically on test day about how you'll structure your letter. If you do that, you'll get a much better score than if you memorize a template. Memorized templates will decrease your score. And I'm saying that because I've spoken to the OET people, not necessarily the examiners, and they have said that. So that's important. Please, if you're a home care nurse and you're writing to emergency doctor after seeing a patient with I'm not sure for Lake, I'm not sure of that one. Shazia, the 3 sets of writing for doctors, are they for all paid members? Yes. Ali's, in which points will a letter of referral and letter of discharge differ? Yeah, okay. So, yeah, right. Okay, well, the question is, a referral letter. You've got a patient who has a problem and they need to see a specialist. That specialist might be a home care nurse. That specialist might be, again, a dermatologist because they have a skin irritation or something like that, right? Referring them. Discharge means this. Let's say discharge is when you have a patient who has come to you and then you're sending them back to where they've come from. For example, the typical one is a nursing home. So let's say you have an elderly patient who has a fractured hip and has come to your clinic, spent some time at your clinic, usually a number of days or a lengthy period of time for treatment, for whatever, and then you're discharging the patient back to the nursing home. And so you'll say, and you might be writing the letter to the head of the nursing home saying, hello, head of nursing home. The patient will be discharged tomorrow at 12 p.m. I'm writing to inform you of his progress. ... Okay. Jay, do we have to put commas in the heading address? Have a look at some samples and see what the good, not bad samples. Have a look at some good samples, some official samples, or look at the E2 language samples, and you'll see. Varuni, if I miss some important case notes and later want to add them, would it be all right to connect it to the paragraph using an arrow? I think so. Yes, I think that would be the best way to do that, Varuni. Elise, what language do we use when we're discharging a patient? I think you should start it like this. Use a passive sentence and say, Mr. Smith will be discharged on Tuesday at 3 p.m, full stop. And then outline what happened to him, how his progress is, whatever the task asks for. Hamza, can I submit a letter for assessment other than letters in my account? Unfortunately not, Hamza, because we don't know where the other letters came from. There's lots of poor quality OET material out there that actually takes you in the wrong direction. So just be very careful of what you study with. Okay, YouTube Live. How can I enroll in E2 language? Go to www.e2language.com, click on OET, click on register. Could you provide us with common writing abbreviations? No, but if you Google common medical abbreviations, you'll see them. Jay, can I still get a B if I miss one task in speaking? Yeah, missing a task in speaking happens. If you do miss a task, you can always come back to it. But it's not critical. Roblox Experiment Slime Claudia Cupcake 87 asks, can I make some marks on the stimulus paper just for notes? Yes, but you have to wait till the 5 minutes reading time is over. Viraj, can you provide common phrases for the writing task? Again, check good samples, official samples and E2 language samples. Jay, sometimes find when writing a letter. Jay, where does the date go in the letter? Just put the date right at the top of the letter. That's easiest. Linda Chaki, I want to enroll. Which website should I use? www.e2language.com. Thiago Ahmed, is there what's known as a warning letter? No, but there is an information letter. You might be a nurse, for example, and you may have to write a letter to the parents of school children. You might be a school nurse, and let's say there's a chickenpox outbreak at school. So you're writing a letter to the parents of children, informing them, information letter, informing them of the chickenpox outbreak, what they need to do with their children, etc. Dr. Ahmed Hassan, if there's no date mentioned, I will write the exam date. So the date that goes right at the top of the letter is always the day of your exam. If there might be a discharge date, that will go in your introductory paragraph probably. Pavakan, do I have to include the admission date of when the patient was admitted and discharged? Not necessarily, it depends. How many types of letter are there? Usually referral, followed by discharge, possibly transfer, possibly information. And we saw today follow-up letter, so 5 possible letters. Okay. Just checking the questions here. Shijamon Chaco, how much is the payment for e2language.com? Our basic package, which includes all of the online materials, overview lessons, methods lessons, full practice materials, skill building, access to all of the recorded live classes, is 69 US, which is about 90 Australian dollars, I think. Pretty good value for money. Now, if you want to have one-on-one tutorials and get writing feedback, the price increases from there. Think about it as an investment, I think. Think about it as an investment, because here's what you do. You don't get feedback. You go and take your exam. You make a silly mistake. It costs you $300, $500, and you have to sit the exam again. So it's really costed you $1,000 and 2 months of your time. Yeah, I won't say anymore. Okay, I think that's all. There's a few more, but I think I'll submit them. Can I make notes on my role play card in speaking? Yes. And you can ask questions to the interlocutor, the person you're speaking to. In 2 minutes preparation time, you can say, excuse me, what is Meals on Wheels, for example? And the interlocutor will say, that's a food delivery service. You say, all right, cool, got it, move on. All right, guys, that's all. I'm going to leave it there. I hope that was helpful. And yeah, good luck. I hope you're preparing properly for this exam. It's not easy. It's not a walk in the park. It's not a piece of cake. But if you prepare properly, it'll be a good challenge, and it's something that you can do, okay? And I'll see you very, very soon. And yeah, have a good morning, day, or evening, wherever you are.